Tay Gumby saying, "Bring the dogs to a stage. Let's see you eat live."
Yeah.
You gonna be doing some eating live up on stage?
I mean, we were talking about not having instruments and just eating hot dogs as the album is playing on the PA.
Hey man, listen, if we can keep overhead down and just tour and just eat food on stage and have a guarantee,
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Nice. What if they paid you in hot dogs though? Like, is that still cool or?
I mean, what's the market for hot dogs there? Can we flip those hot dogs? Because
are we talking like hot dog NFTs or what?
yeah, there it is.
Welcome to the 109th episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore adjacent communities. If you beautiful people in chat have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in. I'll try to read them aloud. If you like this up for $5, you get access to some exclusive emotes, as well as access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming services. You can also sub for free by attaching an Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this in your car and have no idea what I'm talking about, the show is first shown live on Twitch. Join us every Sunday and Wednesday at twitch.tv/thecast.ends-creation for the live cast. With that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today who dropped their new record, None But a Pure Heart Can Sing, last Friday through Silent Pendulum Records. Welcome in, So Hideous. How's it going?
It's going great, man. Thank you for having us.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on. Y'all are great.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So, why don't you tell us who you are, what you do in the band?
Okay, I'll start. I'm Brandon. I've been in So Hideous since the beginning, and I play guitar, piano, do some compositions, and write some lyrics.
Yeah, I'm Michael. I'm the new drummer and percussionist, and I joined last year for this album.
Brandon, you like do everything, right? Like you write all the songs along with your brother, I imagine.
I mean, it's been mostly me writing the songs for the most part, since the beginning, and we had very, very different cast of characters at the beginning. I actually enjoy this record because I think it was the most democratic, which was great. Was able to, everybody was able to shine and bring that to the table, and I was also able to let go a little bit, and that felt great to give people the forum to sort of sprinkle their own little flavor onto things, and but yeah, mostly it's been me at least getting the ball rolling, and then we take it from there.
Okay, so Michael, you write your own drum parts for this, or were those pre-written?
Yeah, I mean, we started emailing each other during the pandemic, and Brandon would give me some pretty vague influences that he was hearing. So stuff from like John Theodore from the Mars Volta and Queens of the Stone Age to more like Hans Zimmer-esque ideas and more orchestral ideas. So basically, yeah, I mean, we started just by meeting in person, and he would play a riff and I'd be like, all right, I'd play something, and we would just democratically talk about it and work on it, and like, oh, blast beat here, no blast beat, let's try this, like, motoric vibe for this thing. So that's kind of how it went down.
Well, let's quickly go back to the beginning here. Brandon, how did the project come to be? Looks like it was just you and your brother to start out with. Am I correct with that?
Actually, it was just me at first, and I wasn't really into the idea of doing the one man project, just because I really wanted that feel of a band. Like, I really wanted live musicians, and I had been hanging out doing like ambient drone and post rock, and I wanted something a little more immediate, and I also wanted real strings. So the idea was like, somebody having an emotional breakdown and like Bach's Mass in B minor. Like, it was like, how do I get those two together with somebody yelling over these lyrical strings? And then I think about the bands who influenced my guitar playing, like Mono and Envy, and like how they're basically my teachers, right? And they taught me how to play guitar, and that style for me was the best approximation of how do I get an orchestra, with these overdrive pedals, right?
Wait, so you did them all with pedals in the beginning?
No, it was just to sort of get that volume, right? Get that noise in the demos.
I got you. Make your guitar be like how strings and stuff are. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, all of that. And it's like, I think, that's where everyone in the band is so integral, because for the most part, I don't think I play anything less than the 12th fret on the guitar. Like, I'm always kind of very, very high up on the neck, so everybody else has to do heavy lifting on the mid and lower end. And it was tough to get players at the beginning, man. Like it was, we did all the avenues, right? It's like Craigslist, Musician Exchange, hanging stuff up at Guitar Center, Sam Ash, and you're telling people the influences, and everybody's like scoffing at you. They're like, in New York, it was like, "Where's the beat down?" We don't want to do this. And then I was able to meet some people I started the band with and record a demo, get the EP going. And it wasn't until really, I guess, the second EP to Clasp that my brother came in. And then after that, Etienne, our second guitarist, came in, and now they're like the longest tenured members. They came in with the second EP, but it was like, it took a while to get that nucleus.
Yeah, that's like, what, 2 years you were by yourself? Something like that?
Yeah. And it was just, kind of just trying to refine the demos and the songs and convince people that, we can do this with the strings, and that we're hopefully not going to alienate the post-rock people who want all the violent stuff. And at the same time, we can still have attitude, right? And volume, and, be aggressive at the same time. But, in 2008, 2009, it was a hard sell.
I can imagine. People have been asking me if I ever want like members to join the Sound That Ends Creation. And I'm like, bro, I gotta find like a saxophonist that wants to play this shit. It's not easy to find people that play those kinds of instruments and get them to be involved in a project with like screaming and stuff like that. And so I totally feel you, man. Like it must have been incredibly hard. But you're here now, and you got a whole band behind you and everything, all kinds of members. You call it the First Light Orchestra, is that right?
Yeah, I was just like thinking that, because at the time I didn't know if I would have a steady thing. So it was more like, oh, I guess I'll just try to do it with an ensemble of rotating musicians. And I'll just call, the people that I work with, I'll call that the First Light Orchestra each time. And in the liner notes, yeah, it changes depending on the quartets we use, like in Laurstein, we used a huge ensemble, 30 players and a small choir. Yeah, and a brass. And we kind of stripped it back down for this one, but each time it's sort of that spirit, like the First Light Orchestra, the additional musicians that we use each time that give us that little extra sort of flavor that we like to put on the recordings. Because, the synths right now, they're so ahead of where they were when I first started. But for me, it's not the same, even if they sound great. I like to get the guys in the room reading the sheet music and, sort of get that real intimate feel.
Okay. So, just to finish up your history real quick, you ended up releasing 2 albums, and now you're here. But after your last album, Laurstein, I believe is how you pronounce it. Is that correct? Laurstein?
Laurstein.
Okay. After that, there was a 6-year break. So what happened? Like, it seemed like you were popping them out pretty consistently every 2 years or so. Yeah.
I mean, it was very much like all the unglamorous parts of like being in a band, where like you're burnt out, you're dealing with time and finance, and how are you going to go forward? We put a lot into those previous records, and you sort of got to a point where it's like you put so much into that other aspects of your life maybe we're not in the best shape.
Yep.
I got you.
Yeah, and it was sort of, okay, like let's focus on getting to a good place with those things, whether it be, again, finance, health insurance, personal relationships, right? How do we get those into a working place first? And again, yeah, those aren't like the glamorous rock star answers. Like, it's like I wasn't like in a cave somewhere finding enlightenment to write the next album or anything like that. It's more, we were all taking care of ourselves and our families, or adding or growing our families.
Well, I could imagine that, like, you must have been like kind of falling behind in debt and stuff too, having to hire 30 musicians. Holy crap, dude, that's insane.
Yeah, and it's like, we like to go all the way, right? If we're going to do, we always say, if we're going to do it, then we're going to do it. And it's very much, then you have to understand the flip side to that coin, right? Where there's a cost,
right?
And I think we were very, very cavalier about it, and it's awesome when you're young, you go head first right into it. But we needed that time to recover, and I think also rediscover our why, right? You're in a band, and it's like, okay, so why are you doing it? Are you doing it so you can release an album every 2 years and tour behind it, to release another album every 2 years and tour behind it? or are you actually making this because you want to make it?
Dude, hell yeah, man. Well, like y'all are making, I haven't really heard a band that sounds quite like this. So you're making like a new genre. It takes some balls to be doing that. So like, I feel like you have to have some kind of heart behind it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, that was pretty much the mantra going in, like, finding our why and doing it and coming from a place of just complete freedom this time, rather than just, oh, we've been out of the game, should we temper our expectations to do it? It's like, no, let's put in the work and, honestly just express ourselves. Take it back to when, you're really shitty and you're 15 years old and your first guitar and it's like, wow, that riff sounds amazing, let's do that again, rather than thinking about these are the social media metrics, this is the genre nomenclature, this is no, like let's play music.
Well, on that note, talking about genre and stuff like that, what genre would you call yourselves?
We just had a really funny podcast from some of our friends in the UK, and they called it blues metal or something to that effect, or blue metal, just like blue,
Okay.
or even not even metal, just blue. They called it a new thing because like, well, I can throw all these different words together, and it still wouldn't describe what we're trying to do or felt we had to do for this. So, yeah, I mean, I also think just putting things into a genre whole is kind of, it doesn't really do it always justice.
I agree too. I like to have genres because if somebody new comes along, you could be like, oh, hey, it's this kind of music, so they could think in their mind, okay, it's gonna be similar to these other bands or what. How are you like what do you call it? Pitching it to like blogs and stuff though? Like, what kind of genre are you using for that? Is it post black? That's the thing I've heard the most.
I think so. Yeah, our PR agent Curran, from the chain, I think it's like atmospheric post black shoegaze maybe is like the official term he was using.
Yeah, I feel like on this one it's so different. Like that doesn't even like fit anymore too. Like it's so much more rhythmic this time around, and instead of like focusing on like constantly evolving like a slower kind of atmosphere, I guess it's more I would say like even almost prog rock, or so like I don't know what to call y'all at all. I was trying to rack my brain too. I guess like black and progressive metal. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure the blackened part really fits anymore. It's more like a screamo kind of feel to it. But yeah, what y'all are doing is super original. Like I can't think of another band that's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I tell people normally when like I have acquaintances or friends, I just wind up saying it's some kind of metal and just leave it at that, because I know they won't really look past the guy yelling or the distortions or the sort of aggressive Marshall type drumming. So I'm like, there we go, metal, and then you can take whatever other stuff you want to classify it as from there. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun on this one. And I think that was really important, because sometimes we were under such pressure from ourselves on the last records and just, trying to get it done and, setting strict deadlines and everything. And I think when you're seasoned and you know what to expect, then you go into another record. Okay, these are the parts that we need to take care of. We have this booked. Everyone is ready. Let's go in and just explore it and get into a habit of like saying yes, or let's try it, rather than just like, oh, you know what, I'm not sure, like I don't know if that works. It's like, no, like it's gonna work, let's do it, let's try it, how does it feel, right? And that was just so freeing, and that's what this whole thing was about.
Just putting your whole heart. The chat is going crazy for Mike. Just wanted to let you know about that.
All the homies are in here. Yeah,
I don't know if I could read any of it out because some of it's a little weird.
It's probably better not to. But let's say hello to Taylor, who does all the graphic design for Silent Pendulum.
Also, vocals for Steak Sauce Mustache.
Absolutely, yep. So hi Taylor, and then we got Goblin Crow, Chris Weiss, one of my oldest friends from high school. So he's in there laying down some heat. And then we got B Doughty.
He's from Sterling and 30 Seconds Ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. We talk on IG. Okay, so hello. So that's good that we have some buddies here.
So the change has been pretty drastic, I would say, from your last album to this one. I feel like this one is way better than the last one, like, to be honest with you guys. And the last one is sick, but this one, I don't know, man. Like, I get this, I get my blood pumping in some parts, and other parts it's like, super sad. And so like it's such a good dynamic, and the mood changes so much. What inspired you to change it around so much this time to make it more the more exciting parts, the more rhythmic parts, or whatever?
I think I'll let Brandon explain, but at least I wasn't on the previous records, but I've been a So Hideous fan since the first EPs. So I've known these guys personally for a while. But back to what you just said about the freedom. I mean, we were peak pandemic when Brandon and I started emailing, and everyone was going through chaos because everyone's on lockdown, everyone's losing jobs or partners or whatever's going on in everyone's life. And when I was getting emails from Brandon, I was like, all right, like, let's get our masks on. Let's go rent a studio for 3 hours and let's just go like do what we did when we started playing music, which was like, we go and have fun and sweat it out and be like, okay, yeah, let's play an Afrobeat drum beat on this song, or get the brushes or the mallets, or him and I, we said, let's buy a gong. So we bought a gong for this record because why not? We're not getting any younger. This is why we started doing music, because it's fun and beautiful. So at least that was my perspective going into this. But as far as like the two records, Brandon's better to explain the difference in the writing process for those.
Yeah, I think maybe before that there were just more, I guess, more stringent ideas of what it was supposed to be, what the end game was supposed to be. Like Last Poem, First Light was supposed to start off, you're in a really, really shitty place, and then you find something, a crutch or whatever along the way to help you, the lantern, and then you get to the end and you don't need the lantern anymore, right? Like, it's like you're in a better place. Like, that was very much like the record starting off dissonant and then ending in a nicer place. And Laurstein was just about having that consistent dreamlike mood of dying throughout the whole thing. Like, it was like, we need to have this be a Max Richter album with a guy yelling on it, right? Like, that was like, let's hammer that home, right? Max Richter, Olafur Arnalds, Johan Johansson, like, let's have that, but with someone screaming, and having a nervous breakdown in the church while that's playing. So they had like really, really strict concepts to them. And this one was very much like, we're expressing ourselves totally and fully. And, that idea that we thought, this isn't going to work for Laurstein because it doesn't fit into the concept, or this doesn't work for Last Poem, because it doesn't fit into the concept. That conversation didn't happen anymore. That conversation was like, no. That would be just as limiting as us saying, oh, we're not going to play metal because that's expected of us. Like, no, if there was a straight ahead metal part, we attached it with the same, gusto as we would, some extra crazy left field shit. It was more about giving each idea the same attention, rather than just like, we want to do the blast beat parts, because they feel so good. But then the quiet parts, those are just placeholders in between the aggressive parts. Like, no. We're going to attack everything the same. And I think with that sort of focus, and also, partnering with someone like, working with Michael, who was like, yeah, that's what's happening. When you have that team around you, it's just full speed ahead.
Was there ever a point where you were like, I'm not sure this is this is So Hideous anymore? Like, was there ever a couple riffs where you're just like, yeah, I don't think it really fits the band? Like the Emerald Pearl, super excellent example of how the sounds changed so much. Was there ever a point where you're just like, yeah, this isn't the same band anymore?
Honestly, it didn't happen for me, because when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, let's say I do this and I create another band to do a song like the Emerald Pearl, but then I still have reverb, tremolo picking, double bass, and a guy yelling on top of it, like with strings. That's So Hideous. So if anything, those are more elements of So Hideous, just with adding the brass and the Afro beats on it, than if I just created an entire new band and still had so many of the hallmarks of my old band. Like, that just, to me, didn't make any sense. I was thinking, it wasn't like I just released a string record, or we did a full-on ambient record, or something like that. It was more, I felt like we expanded outward and took more influences, rather than just completely cut off the limbs and disavowed everything that came before.
Yeah, you see it as more of a natural progression.
Yeah.
to where you are now.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't sound like So Hideous. I'm just saying it's kind
Yeah.
of a big change.
Yeah, different. Yeah, absolutely.
What are the influences going into your current sound? Because, like I said, there's not a lot of bands that sound like this. I mean, I know you're talking about like composers and stuff like that, but are there like bands like in a similar vein as to you that I just don't know about? Band that comes to my mind, I would Set Myself on Fire for You is probably one that's kind of in the same ballpark. Are there bands like that?
I mean, I think the best representation is our text messages or our group text. Especially just between Brandon and I, the last year, it's like we rehearse, and then a few days later, we're sending Radiohead live videos to each other. Or the next week, it's John Theodore from Mars Volta live video from 15 years ago, playing some crazy Latin stuff on top of horns and maracas. Or even recently, I mean, the album's out, but you sent me a Hans Zimmer link. And it blindsided me. I was packing records. I was like, we're doing some Sound Pendulum records, having a good time. And Brandon sends me this video, and I'm there like, I'm getting watery, I'm getting teary, I'm getting emotional, packing records, and then I'm sending that to people, posting it, and now I'm like a Hans Zimmer believer. I didn't even know he was touring with an orchestra and playing Coachella, but there he is. And so I think that's like the key element is having the open heart and mind to listen to these totally different genres that otherwise you wouldn't think fit or wouldn't influence a specific vision that, any math metal or post metal or shoegaze band would put in as an influence. But then having the open mind to do that, then you get something more for what we created is what I would say.
Something totally different. Yeah, I was thinking just a lot of, in addition to like the same composers that I had, like I said, Ola Arnolds, Max Richter, and those sort of modern composers. I was thinking a lot of like just older live bands, like like listening to Sam Cooke live at the Apollo, Otis Redding, and it's like like those guys are screaming. Like it's like they were legit belting it out. Like I was obsessed with this James Brown Christmas album because it was so sad. But I mean, he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and it's totally in key, right? And I mean, they have the guitars playing arpeggios, tremolo picking, and everything just sounds so live and vital with an orchestra on it. I'm like, how do I get that feeling on a modern recording?
His Christmas album was sad?
Yeah, it was fucking incredible, man. Incredible. Santa Claus is here to stay. Everybody do that right now. Like right now, like go away and do it right now. Like just incredible. Xylophones, like all of it. Even the Phil Spector Christmas, the wall of sound that he has, all the instruments, the orchestrations, all that. And I'm just thinking like, I listened to that stuff and I'm like, wow, this happened so long ago. And I'm fucking jealous, man, because I can just hear it. I could hear, all these people thinking and working towards one common goal and putting it together and creating this honest music, man. They didn't give a shit what was happening right now. Oh, this is popular. This is what's happening. This is what's expected of me. No, they fucking just made these incredible songs.
So confirmed, So Hideous is influenced by Christmas music.
Yes.
Looks like we got someone else joining us.
Oh, we got our guitarist.
Oh, he's coming in.
I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce your name.
If you guys can hear me, it's Etienne.
Etienne, alrighty. Can you turn your phone sideways?
Yeah, like this.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go. Now we're rocking and rolling.
Gangs.
This is like a guest spot coming in.
Yeah, just the crazy drop in.
Featuring.
Yeah, you guys set the tone 27 minutes in, and then I'll drop in.
So tell us who you are, what you do in the band.
Etienne Vasquez. I play guitar in So Hideous.
Okay. We kind of went through a lot of it already. I don't know if you were listening to us before, if you have any input on things we've already talked about.
I was not listening.
Okay.
Good. Throw me a zinger. Let's go.
We were talking about what influences went into the current iteration of So Hideous.
Right. So honestly, man, my answer to that would be we had a lot of time to just like be adults and just like catch up on life in between the last record and what we just did. And so when we came back together and started playing, it just felt really fresh. And honestly, it felt like we were hungry again, which was really exciting, and hungry without sort of some of the trappings of feeling like we have to deliver something. And it felt honestly like we were just writing music again, like friends, and just enjoying it. And I think so from an influences standpoint, I felt like we were taking stuff from anywhere. It didn't really matter where it came from. It was just more, is it inspiring? Does it make sense? Is it fun? And is it a good indication of where we are right now? And when I listen back to the record now, I feel like that's what I hear. I hear a mix of everything. I hear us coming from all over the place, from the existing band members to the new band members, and that's what makes it fun. So that's a different angle on answering your question, because I listen to a whole lots of different stuff, but it's hard to say exactly what makes it into a record or not.
No, that's awesome that you guys don't have an influence that is like what you're doing, but you might be doing it better or whatever. It's more like influences from across the whole spectrum. It really takes some balls to put something like that together. That's awesome. I gotta ask you, man. You got all these paintings behind you. Are you like finger painting, or what's going on?
Yeah, right. if only if only I were so talented. No, this is what I do instead of work all day. I finger paint and put them up and hope someone notices them one day.
You can sell them as NFTs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, trying to make a quick buck here or there, anywhere I can. No, man, I these are actually my kids' artwork. So early on in the pandemic, when I started working from home, I had this sort of plain white wall behind me. So I decided to, the kids were doing a lot of stuff, so we put these up here. They've become quite famous at my job now. Now that when I'm in the office, people like to complain that my kids are probably the better part of them actually doing Zoom calls with me. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that's just their artwork that I have up there on display.
How many kids you got?
Three kids, 8, 6.5, and 4. So we got a busy household here.
I can imagine.
Getting rehearsals together is not easy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just, at some point we're just gonna bring the kids to the rehearsal studio and just like, you guys will figure it out. Put some earplugs in and go for it.
Listen, we need more percussion. That's it.
Yeah.
Do y'all live by each other, or are y'all scattered around?
I think pretty scattered. Everyone's in a different county or state or borough.
Okay.
Yeah,
so how often do practices end up happening?
We attempt for weekly, which is
what's the average, Mike? The average.
Let me get my ledger out. Let me see. 1 second. We attempt weekly. It's more bi-weekly, and that doesn't mean we're all there either.
So that's why it took 6 years then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really, really, in the midst of the pandemic, late 2020, early 2021, like solid push, like getting together and like hashing out the record, because we, I really think having that concrete goal was important. It was like, listen, the studio date is booked, the string players are paid for, the horns are booked, like now let's do this. And I feel like we had like a golden 3 months where it was just like we were all pushing in the same direction to get everything going. And that was, I always remember that, because it's like, it's February, the weather is really shitty, there's not a lot going on, but those Saturdays and Thursdays or whatever, like it was like you had 4 guys just in total lockstep making it work. And that's like something that I remember fondly, hashing this thing out.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned recording and string players and such, because that's where we're headed to next. So here you had, what is it, 9 people. Is it 9 that y'all brought in, extra musicians?
We brought a quartet, a string quartet in this time, and then we had 3, brass, woodwinds, or whatever players, sax.
Okay.
Also, there was 2 days of strings, so I think it was a different quartet each day or something to that effect. Yeah.
Oh,
so there was
really?
like, just because of scheduling. Yeah.
Well, I see you got 7 Sons to be the strings and such, and then they're the band that was covering like Dillinger and stuff like that. I don't know if they did any other ones, but I remember seeing them, the YouTube video of them doing 43% Burnt. So that's pretty sick that you got them. How did y'all hook up with them?
Actually, Earl played live with us a couple of times before during Laurstein. And yeah, we were just sort of able to, take that next step and say, okay, for this one, let's use the quartet, for this. And Earl picked up the Laurstein stuff really, really quickly. So for us, it was just kind of a real easy step because I mean he came in, we gave him the sheet music, and I think his first show with us was Webster Hall, and he was up there, total darkness, just shredding and doing what he had to do, and I was like, okay, let's get the quartet on this one because we really wanted to strip it down after having so many on the last one, having the strings dominate the record. And yeah, it just seemed like, okay, let's take that relationship a little bit further, especially because we wanted it a little more immediate, a little more raw, like you can hear the bow on the string kind of shit, where the other one was more like Hans Zimmer, Inception, big bass drops, big booms, and end of the world strings. This was more like, no, let's have it be more intimate despair, but the world is still ending. Yeah.
And all these other, the saxophone, trombone, trumpet player, like they're just people that y'all happen to know?
No, I was actually that's the Afrobeat connection. So they all played with Antibalas, who won a Grammy for Afrobeat in 2019. And I stumbled upon it when I was getting into all the Fela Kuti stuff, and I started listening to that band, and I was like, holy shit, this is the modern day version of that. And they actually took it to the next level with electronics. So yeah, I just reached out, and they were super approachable, and that's another like incredible part of that recording session because they just came in and just destroyed it. Like came in with their bottle of, what was it, whiskey? I don't know.
Really? Okay.
That was probably my favorite part of the recording. I don't want to say favorite, but one of my favorite parts of the recording process. Like we did drums first, and guitars, bass, vocals. Then we had strings on top, and strings were very structured with sheet music. And then album's almost done, and we're there, and like the horn players arrive at 7 p.m. or something, 6 p.m. We already did a full day's work. We're like, all right, let's see how this goes. They're like, bottle of whiskey in hand, ready to go, one take, killing it. And then we're like, oh, this one I remember the trombone player was like, oh, this one part's pretty cool, but what if we did like in unison and did like a crescendo?
Yeah.
And I remember just like goosebumps and being like mind blown behind the glass in the studio with Kevin and everybody, and just being like, wow, that was pro.
So they essentially improv their whole takes and everything?
Yeah, for like so we had for them sheet music for like initial 30 seconds. And it was like they tried out the first take and it was like really, really stiff. So they still had, because it was basically just E flat minor, like vamping that, right? And yeah, it was just like super stiff. So then they were looking at the scales, and it was like, okay, literally like within a minute, they're like, okay, I'm gonna keep this bit, I'm gonna get rid of this bit, do that, and then they just again took off. And yeah, as Mike said, it was super inspiring because it was just extra pro, and it was like, oh, okay, they made this thing totally swing, rather than like, I guess for me, because I had been writing for strings, as Mike said, it was so much more structured that they were able to take kind of the little bit that I had on the page and, like, no pun intended, make it sing. So that was super rewarding. That was
awesome.
Thank you guys. They were awesome.
Because that's like a big part, like the little solos and stuff that they do. It's so there's no lyrics up on the internet for this. So what are the lyrics about?
Oh yeah.
You need to get that up on Bandcamp.
We'll leave it to people to interpret. No.
There we go. The Cedar Roast route, and it's all gibberish, and you guys can assign a meaning to it.
Well, no, so I was gonna say, if it's like your other albums, it seems like it's more like a stream of consciousness kind of approach. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think so. I would say that because the pandemic, and with our vocalists being on the other side of the country, I had just a lot more time to sort of sit with the lyrics and try and tell a more concrete story with them. It's still, I like the stream of consciousness shit. I don't think I'll ever not write lyrics that way, because I like that like Terrence Malick and internal monologue kind of stuff. I just think it speaks to like the, you know, this introverted mindset with this very extroverted music. But I think with the lyrics this time, it was very much like, you know, we're starting off the album Souvenir Echo, and it's about, you know, I guess taking what you've learned before, right? And kind of, you know, getting rid of the baggage, understanding all the bullshit that happened before and kind of moving forward. And this is very much like the Perseverance album, you know. Even Emerald Pearl was sort of very meta. Like it's like, you know, we want to do this, right? You want the Emerald Pearl, but do you want to go through all the bullshit you have to get it? Right?
Okay.
Like,
Kind of like making this album, huh?
right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we're seasoned enough to know that it's like, no, we got to hunker down and do it if we want to actually make it work. Right. And even Motoric, you know, I had the, you know, I kept talking with Mike about this krautrock. Like I need the Motoric beat. I need a dun, 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 dun. We need to just, you know, have it be driving, because the whole thing was about, you know, whenever you're driving, right, you're looking forward, but you're also looking in the rear view mirror and you're looking at the side view mirror, right? It's like everything that was behind you was also going to be taking you to where you're going.
Yeah,
And then finally, you know, the last song from now, our love song, was
love song. Okay.
yeah, 100% our ballad, baby. You know, that one was just very much about like, you know, after all that, we're okay. Right?
Nice. Yeah, this is totally about you making this album, like 100%. It fits perfectly. One other thing I forgot to mention about recording: how do you make everything stay on track? Like, counting you guys, there would be like 11 people working on this thing. Or then you have producers or people recording you and stuff like that. Like, how do you keep it all straight?
I think the biggest thing we did was we did pre-pro and demos. Like that helped us, the core, get the songs where we wanted them to be. And the three of us would send files back, or all of us, or just Brandon and I at first would just send drums and guitar and just get the meat and potatoes and the clicks together. Trying to replicate our voice memo demos we took with our iPhones and being like, is that the tempo? We're like clicking it on our, you know, metronome, be like, it's kind of dragging, or it's kind of fast. So that's how we got the songs. And then once we were pretty happy with those, then I think Brandon and Etienne handled all the booking of the studio and hiring the musicians. And then Brandon wrote out all the charts. I think that was probably like the biggest work.
Like we got someone else.
Yeah, well, what do we got going on here? We got another guest spot.
We got
Now, boys.
vocals. We got vocals now.
How's it
Now,
going?
gentlemen.
Christopher, is that right?
Yeah.
That's me, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
You know, I saw this Zoom call and I saw you guys having a good time, and I'm like, no, I can't miss out on
So we were gonna. Oh, I forgot. We got to shout out Kevin Antriasian at Backroom Studios, guitarist for Dillinger, recorded, mixed, and mastered you guys. That's a whole lot of work. Like,
yeah, and I mean,
holy crap!
you were talking about, you know, how does it stay on track, right? I mean, when you have somebody who's a total pro, right, and sort of understands, you know, that we're coming in and there are goals for each day. This is drums. This is, you know, guitar and bass. These are strings, right? And I mean, we had a very non-traditional recording session anyway, where at the time Chris was in San Francisco. So then he was recording his vocals out over there in a separate studio, right? And again, you know, just having everybody sort of put all of that together, like you said, just required great planning and a lot of flexibility, you know, to sort of make that work.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm kind of
Kevin-
like reorganizing some stuff over.
Oh, there we go.
No, Kevin was honestly, I'm gonna shout Kevin out for, I mean, so Kevin's really good. He's a good engineer in the sense that he has a really great ear for obviously as we're working along when we can get better takes, etc. But on top of that, I think he has a really good natural style about giving feedback. And so it was really easy to hear his suggestions and hear when he was like, look, I think you could do that better, or, you know, have you guys tried this? And it's like, okay, great, let's try that out. And we try things, and some things stuck, and then some things were like, no, you know what, glad we tried it, but we're gonna, you know, move on from that idea. But I found that he knows exactly kind of when to insert himself. He does so in a very sort of confident but not over, like, he knows it's your work, but he also knows you want it to be good. So he really strikes a really nice balance. So it was really easy actually to work with him the entire time. I don't think I had any expectations going into it, because I just knew him. I didn't know, you know, the work that he had done. I just knew that, you know, Mike certainly had trusted him, and DJ had trusted him. And the fact that we were booking with him in the first place, I knew Brandon certainly had to trust that we were going in the right direction. But then working with him gave me really, actually a newfound respect, honestly, for the work that he was able to do.
Hell yeah. I mean, doing all this on his own is pretty insane. Engineering, mixing, mastering, recording, like, holy crap. As someone that does that type of stuff, like, yeah, it must have been driving him nuts. And then, like, having to organize all the people, like, holy crap, man. We could do a podcast with just talking about album, like.
Yeah, we should get Kevin on here next time. I would like to hear that.
That would be sick.
I want to hear the real details.
I should contact him.
We shouldn't be, but don't have us on. Just
No.
ask him, and he'll give you the real deal.
I think the next one should just be the So Hideous scarf that's behind Cadner right now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here's
Interview
the
the
host
scarf.
show. Just interview that bad boy. See what comes out of
Put
it.
it on the mic.
So, your cover art was done by Christopher Cruz. Oh, that's you, isn't it? I just now realized
that
that.
is
Holy
me.
crap.
That is
Hey,
me.
there you are.
I don't know why
Go
I just now
outsource it.
realized
Keep it all
that.
in house.
So tell us what this is exactly. What are we looking at?
So I remember, you know, Brandon and I going kind of back and forth about these different ideas of what we could do for the cover art. And, you know, there were various different iterations of it, like a scrapbook or, you know, what else, Brandon? I mean, there were just so many different ideas that we were throwing around.
Time capsule.
Time capsules, yeah. But essentially, we wanted something that, an image that could be like a standalone piece that would, you know, have a story, you know, in itself. You know, you see the picture of that lady and you're kind of thinking, you know, what exactly is going on with her? You know, it just gravitates you and you want to learn more about it. And we found a similar image that kind of just inspired it. And we went, you know, hit the ground running and came up with 4 different cover versions, and then slimmed it down and made it less busy and incorporated elements of some of the song titles, like the Emerald Pearl. So, you know, she has a ring in there and it's an emerald. Yeah, I dig it. It's one of my favorite pieces I think I've done ever. And now it gets to live on some beautiful vinyl that Mr. Cadner has been putting together pretty well.
Hell yeah. Is it based on somebody like one of your friends or something modeling for you?
I mean, no. I mean, I don't know anyone that has hair that long, but maybe Cadner in a few years. He could
Yeah, a few more years.
Yeah.
Just tie the scarf to it. That's it.
Yeah, just
There you go. Just a bunch of scarves like dreads. So you guys also did a music video talking about it. Whose idea was it? This is a music video for Emerald Pearl.
Yeah, that was fun because it was sort of just like, oh, let's look at the lyrics, right? You want something so bad, you're striving for it, and it was like, I mean, I just kind of had like this very, very obtuse idea, you know, 2 forces that were just attracted to each other no matter what, but then it wound up being toxic, and you're just kind of in that cycle, right? And it's kind of similar to when you want to accomplish goals, right? That myth of Sisyphus thing, right? I'm rolling this thing up the hill, then I get it there and it goes right back down, right? And then I got to bring it up the hill again, and you know, after one task is done, here's another, right? But I guess trying trying to look at that not necessarily from a negative place, just sort of being grateful for that process, right? Like, yeah, there's always more work to do, and like that's cool, right? Like I'm excited to be able to do new things and continue to work. And you know, I had that idea, and you know, Mike had worked with the director Brendan McGowan before, and you know, he recommended him, and then we all jumped on a call, you know, talking about it, brainstorming it, and it was just literally like they were just rapid fire, like just firing pearls. Like it was just, you know, adding on to the concept, and yeah.
Firing emerald pearls.
Yes, 100%. And
Yep.
very good. And yeah, Brendan works so quickly, you know, but it's not that he doesn't. It's not like, oh, he just spat something out. It's well thought out, but he just moves very, very briskly. It's like, okay, let's do that. I don't know if that's going to play on film, right? Like he's able to really conceptualize these things, because, you know, as Mike can attest, with the emails and texts I was sending, it might sound batshit, right? When I'm saying, oh, let's do this, you know, let's have, you know, Fela Kuti and Hans Zimmer, you know, with this, it doesn't necessarily play on text, but he was able to really, really put, you know, a face to it and do that. And it was just really, really exciting to kind of work with him. I remember after that phone call just being like, yeah, this video is going to work. We haven't even shot anything. We haven't casted anyone yet, but it's going to work because everybody has this concept in.
Yeah,
and Brendan McCown, the director, is so talented. He directed it, filmed it, did the lighting and the casting, everything.
God damn.
All at the same time, no assistance, and it was a one-day film shoot upstate in Woodstock, New York, and 10 hours, that was it. It was done. He's like, all right, going back to the city. See ya. That's it. He got in the car.
He got it down in 10 hours? Jesus.
10 hours, everything. One day. Yep.
Dude, that is wild. This is honestly one of my favorite music videos that I've seen. I'm not just saying that. Like the what do you call that? Interpretive dance that the two ladies are doing as they're like fighting. We're seeing the part right now, actually. Like that's just amazing, and it's like every element of it. It's like a movie. It's really, really well done. Like, kudos to him, man. This is insane. I gotta say, I kind of thought the lyrics would be about like fighting with yourself or something. No, I thought that's what it'd be, because she's like fighting herself. I imagine is what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think it was more about, and I guess we can look at persevering as that, right? Like it's like you're fighting yourself, right? You want to do something, but you're fighting your own laziness, or you're fighting your own procrastination, right? And you're just kind of, you know, look at it the other way, right? Like it's like a gift to hold this emerald pearl, right? Like it's like that struggle is a gift, man, to be able to say, you know what, we're all working towards something. Yeah, this practice was shitty, but you know, think about the end game when we push through this, right? Or this day on at work, at this project was shitty, or this day at the gym was shitty, right? Like it's like, you know, but once you get past that, when you're working toward that goal, right, you're gonna, you know, you got to eat this bitterness to taste the sweet later on, right?
God damn, dude, that's deep. I love this scene where they're like out of breath, and she's just like so dramatic. The one on the right is so dramatic with like her breathing. This is a really good video, guys. Like, holy crap, seriously, I cannot gush about this. Like it's just crazy. I'm not overhyping this at all. It's so good.
I remember being sore after that damn music video. Like I haven't rehearsed with these guys in you know, what seems like forever. I was in California, and then they're like, oh, you know, first time we get together as a group, we're gonna act like we're, you know, performing live. So, you know, the back felt real good after that. It took Brandon 10 hours, but it took me 2 weeks to recover.
So, got a couple of random questions here. We got one that we ask everybody. What do you put on your hot dogs?
I'll go first. Super easy. Just mustard and ketchup. That's it. No frills. Basic.
I'll take the mustard, but you can keep the ketchup.
All right, Etienne, what do you think? Oh, I guess he left.
Oh, he's
froze.
definitely frozen. Okay.
That's it.
Hopefully
he's eating
he
a hot dog.
Yeah.
At least he looks happy, though.
He's doing the impersonation of a hot dog.
Oh, he's back.
But sideways. Still,
Yeah,
I
you're
know.
definitely sideways. There we go.
Back, but different.
All right, Chris, what do you think? What are you doing with this hot dogs?
I mean, I don't really eat hot dogs, but if I was to pick it, probably like raw onions, some mayo, and a ketchup. I think.
Okay. Pretty
Yeah.
basic. I like it.
Yeah.
Not any more basic than Michael's, but it's good. It's good. I like
You
it.
went ballpark hot dog.
That's it. I'm at the game.
Yeah.
Etienne, you got one? You got any? You taking it regular? You taking it spicy? Oh wait, you're on mute.
He's
on
definitely
mute.
muted.
Mute.
You're on mute.
Let's go spicy,
Oh.
and let's toss a bunch of, little ketchup, little mustard, little relish maybe. Get crazy with it.
Oh, okay. Don't.
All right.
don't
Okay.
rush.
Okay.
No, I like to again. I can go super basic, like ballpark game, but I like to have like some Boston baked beans on it.
Baked beans.
Ah.
A weird one.
Yeah,
Switch it up.
Oh shit! You know what? I gotta take that back now, Brandon. You fucked me up. Now I have to think about this because a chili dog is the shit.
Yeah.
Chili dogs
Yeah.
are one of the best things on the planet Earth. So, all right, some chili on top with some heavy cheese.
Okay.
Oh,
What
the
kind of cheese you doing?
All right.
I'm talking heavy cheese.
Oh, all
Like
right.
I want like Doom cheese. Like
You want two-piece doom cheese on top.
Yeah, a more cabinets than people.
That's it.
That's what I
8-string
want.
bass.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I want 8-string bass.
That's the kind of cheese we're talking about.
Playing chords on the bass.
Listen, I want 8 bass drums. All right,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. On a 55-inch floor top.
Yep.
Grind PK in chat says you can cook a hot dog on this fire album.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? Illuminated coffee out of Poughkeepsie. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good to see you.
Good one.
So you guys plan on bringing this to the stage?
We are. We were very picky with this album and this reunion and new members. I think we can speak for all of us, and we want our first gig together and their first gig in a few years to be something like special and intimate. So we've turned down a few gigs, we turned down a few friends. So we haven't announced it. We're still kind of debating over a few venues and a few locations and experiences that we can do. So also we haven't played live in this group setting yet. So we got some rehearsals to do. We got a brutal winter ahead of us in New York. So in the spring, we'll probably have our return to the stage, but nothing booked yet. And then we do have some offers for Europe and some other countries and continents. So none of that's public yet or confirmed. I mean, things are still kind of crazy. So, but 2022 looks bright for us.
I feel like Europe would really like your style because it's so like bombastic and stuff. Kind of similar to like power metal and stuff that's going on over there. So that'd probably be a really good one for y'all. Tay Gumby saying, "Bring the dogs to a stage. Let's see you eat live."
Yeah.
You gonna be doing some eating live up on stage?
I mean, we were talking about not having instruments and just eating hot dogs
Switch
as
it
the
up.
album is playing on the PA.
Hey man, listen, if we can keep overhead down and just tour and just eat food on stage and have a guarantee,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Nice.
it's
What if they
important.
paid you in hot dogs though? Like, is that still cool or?
I mean, what's the market for hot dogs there? Can we flip those hot
Yeah.
dogs? Because
Are we talking like hot dog NFTs or what?
Yeah.
there it is.
So, in terms of like the tour, are you expecting to hit the whole country, or are we looking at just like one region, or is everyone going to get a chance to see you?
It's probably going to be regional and only A markets, if that. I mean, everyone's working full time. Everyone's got families, obligations. So if there's big touring, it still would only be, East Coast, West Coast, and the major cities. I don't foresee a 45-day US tour to Oklahoma happening, but I don't know. Call me. We'll see. Let's work
As
it out.
long as
How
there's
many
a
hot
Texas
dogs you
day.
got?
As long as there's a Texas day, I'll be down. And I'll give you all the hot dogs you could.
All right, excellent.
I'll sign up for the 45-day hot dog tour.
Yeah, that's
There
it.
we go.
So we got to get the gains in. We got to get the gains.
NFT tour, I like that.
Hot dogs or crypto. That's it.
Yeah.
And at end of the tour, we leave with like $3.5 million in NFTs.
Grind PK in chat says hot dogs are the new Dogecoin.
Oh,
Listen, he's not wrong. He is not wrong about that.
So when y'all play live, I've seen a couple of videos of y'all playing live. It doesn't look like y'all are playing with like with people playing like strings or trumpets or anything like that. But then you were mentioning that you guys got one of the string players up on stage with y'all before. So do y'all have like, or are you planning on having like orchestration and stuff behind y'all?
I think that's sort of the, I guess, the point for us with having those larger shows, right? Those more meaningful shows, so that, you know, we can use that as an opportunity to have the ensemble behind us, right? You know, like for a band of this size, in terms of being cost effective, if we go on that 45-day tour to Oklahoma paid in hot dog NFTs, then we might not be able to pay, you know, the 7-piece ensemble with us. But, you know, if we're having, you know, the larger record release show, you know, special shows in different markets, either Los Angeles or when we're overseas, then we can use that event to, you know, have it be told the way, you know, the album should be told, right? But I mean, normally we never really thought about it before. We were like, okay, the album's the album, and like we're gonna be a punk band live, and we plug and play, and you know, it was, you know, we had the best approximation for it. But I know, you know, now going forward with like, you know, going into the realm of, you know, using saxophone solos and brass, you know, that relationship sort of has to change. So, you know, that's something that I think we're ironing out kind of like as we speak for 2022.
Okay. Hopefully y'all can have the entire thing behind you guys. So speaking of shows, what's the best show y'all have played? And Michael, you can say like any kind of show because I know you haven't played with.
ABC No Rio, when we played together with my other band.
Dude, you like literally took that right out of my brain right now. The record release show, ABC No Rio, was.
Yep, that was the
Wow.
spot.
Yeah.
It was packed, and it was chaos, and it was, I think, a matinee probably even.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was sweaty in there. There was no windows.
Yep.
Yep. I remember that.
Very sweaty. Very sweaty.
A lot of passion. The light show looked good. You know,
Yep.
it's just.
Those were some of my favorite shows, man. Just like being right there, surrounded by everybody. Like you look behind yourself, and there's people standing behind the drum set, and yeah, that was the best, man. I missed that place.
Yep.
Now I don't even know what it is. It's like a vacant lot or like a Starbucks or something like that. Yeah.
It's a
Is that
skyscraper now.
Is that how Michael? Is that how you got involved with So Hideous, or did y'all know each other before that?
Yeah, we played a bunch of gigs together for years with my other bands, and Pierre first, and then that turned into Black Table. So we did some, I think, weekends together, some festivals. We were always just like this, weaving in and out of the scene together. They would come to our show, I would go to their show. And yeah, we're friends and supporting each other for years. And then Black Table broke up, so Hideous went on hiatus. And it was kind of like, all right, we're here in COVID. You're on the West Coast, and listen, what else are we doing? I mean, what are we doing right now?
Brandon hit me up saying like, oh, I'm gonna fly out 2 weekends in a row. You're gonna record vocals. I'm like, this guy is crazy. But we did it, and we recorded at what was the name of the studio, Brandon?
The Atomic Garden? Yeah.
That was a good studio. That process was great, man. Just going in there, laying it down, getting honest work done.
Yeah.
Brandon, you got another show for the best one, or are you sticking with the same answer?
No, I really love that 2015 ABC No Rio album release. I just think about even the still photos of the band when we're playing, and like with the smoke, it looked like Akira or something, like Neo Tokyo was just going up in a supernova. And I just love that time period for the band. I love that aesthetic. And yeah, that show was amazing. Shout out to Diami who used to put those shows on for us.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just that was a great show.
I'm gonna have to find footage for that. Making me want to check it out now.
I'm like, I don't even know if there was.
It's all in here, just locked away.
You had to be there, buddy.
So, what's the worst show y'all have played?
ABC No Rio. No. I mean, I think we've all been somewhere in some state or country where we had no business being in this town or city or house gig or towny bar where you're playing with a deathcore band or a blues band or whatever, a karaoke night. Yeah. So I mean, that's at least my experience. I know there's a few times back in the day just booking whatever you could book. Before there was networks to book tours, you were just cold emailing, cold calling people, just adding venues on MySpace or Facebook, and you get there and it's like a metal gig, and you roll up and a guy's got an upright bass and spoons. You're like, yo, what's happening? But that this was 15 years ago. I mean, next record, that's probably pretty hip.
Yeah. But, you said play on a karaoke night. Has that been a thing? Did that happen?
I think that happens. Yeah. I remember in college, I think we played the same night as a karaoke night. So, New Pulse, New York. It was like, all right, we're playing. And then it's like, all right, guys, wrap it up. We got like 20 people on the list to do karaoke.
Awesome.
I remember we played a show and we had to wait until the stand-up comedy night was over. So the show didn't start until like 11:30, and then there was like 6 bands, and guess what? We're going on at 2:45 a.m. on a Monday night, or a Tuesday morning, depending on how you look at it. And it was just like, all right, we're not even playing to the bands because the other bands left. And it's like, okay, thank you for this. And also, you didn't take off from work the next day, so have fun waking up in the morning for that one too.
I still have one more good memory of Webster Hall playing in the basement, and I think East of the Wall headlined or something, and it was like there was a strict curfew. I mean, we're talking like 9 p.m. on a Saturday or Friday or whatever it was. So we're playing, and I'm not even kidding you. We were just talking about this. Like, we are carrying all the cabs off the stage, and Homeboy's already out there with a table and laptop pressing play, and it's like dubstep night, like this. It was like 9:59 on the dot. Like, he was a minute early, and we're still like wrapping cables on stage, and people are rolling in with, I don't know, masks or glasses. I don't know what was going on, but it was interesting. Masks before masks were cool,
Yeah, exactly.
That actually sounds pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'll let you know the next. Yeah.
Taylor in chat saying that sounds like you're describing the steak sauce show.
Oh yeah, karaoke night, of course.
So I had a couple of weird. Oh, actually, Chris, if you had a bad show, what was the worst show you played?
I remember one time we played a show in Akron. I think it was was it in Ohio? I think
Akron, Ohio. Yeah.
And we played with a doom band, and I won't say who they are, but they played for like 4 fucking hours. I mean, it was like an hour and a half, but still way over the time set. But
it was
like,
just the same song.
Yeah, and like time stopped for a moment, and like I went back in time, like I got younger, and then I got older, and like I saw my death and then my rebirth.
As you do.
And then we went on stage to play. It was the most grueling fucking weight of my life. That's it. And to this day, I still think about that show.
They played the hero set at 45 BPMs.
At 40, it was rough, man. It was rough. He smashed a beer in his own cab at the very end, like broke it. I was like, man, what the hell? Whatever. It's just like Good times.
Listen, it's art, dude. It's art.
That's some
4 hours
Sigma
of,
shit
of
right
art.
there. So, y'all mentioned some weird ones. It played any other really weird shows? For example, we've had people on here that have played for kindergartners in a kindergarten. People play for fifth graders. I don't know why these bands are playing in schools, but they are. Ice cream parlors. We had a gym before around all the weights and stuff.
We played an abandoned commercial building.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like an
Yeah.
office.
Like it was just like it was like a local shop that got shut down, and they just like had the door pried open and were charging people, and we just went in, set up, and played.
It's like, are we allowed to do this as you're coming in?
Definitely weren't allowed to do that, but we did it anyway. There was like there's a good amount of people there too. That was fun.
that was a decent show.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the show was bad. I just remember us having like a logistical faux pas, like rookie mistake shit, where like the venue was in Eastern time and the place that we were staying in was like an hour away Central time. And then we woke up the next day. We thought we had all the time in the world, and we were still on Central Time. And then we crossed back over that line, and we're like, "Holy fuck! Now we're late." We went from being like at an incredible pace, full of ourselves, wow, we're well rested and everything, to rushing and just like, dude, we totally fucked up the time zones. Like this is just some bush league rookie shit.
I remember that. We were like, yo, let's go to Waffle House, get some fucking food. Let's like vibe out, man. Let's take our time. And then we're like, we're an hour and a half late.
Too much
Like
vibe.
that.
That was too much
Like
vibe.
Yeah.
So you guys have shirts, hoodies, vinyl, and scarves available over at silentpendulumrecords.bandcamp.com. You want to give us a little
Oh yeah, we got
closer
this
look
right
at it?
here. I mean, it's pretty fancy. I
Dude, that's
must
hideous.
admit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hideous.
And vinyl, shirts, all that stuff is on order. I mean, there's delays everywhere, the whole industry, but
Yeah.
all the pre-orders are still up. Vinyl's almost sold out, and shirts will probably go out before the holiday.
Hell yeah.
And,
the scarf is beautiful, man. What made y'all want to do scarves?
I mean, winter's coming, man, and I've always wanted to do a scarf. I mean, with the label, we're always trying to do new merchandising, so it's like, we got this record, let's go all the way. Finally.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a beautiful piece of merch. No CDs?
We are doing CDs with Tokyo Jupiter Records out of Japan.
Oh.
So we will be getting like a box imported. So that'll go up on Bandcamp eventually. But I mean, historically, I can't speak for the past albums, but I haven't seen a lot of demand for CDs lately. But I could be wrong. Hit me up if you want CDs.
That's interesting. Like, how did you decide to hook up with a Japanese label?
They contacted us. I played there once with my other band, Downfall of Gaia, and I met this label. It was his show, and he loves Downfall of Gaia. He loves So Hideous. So when he heard I was playing with him and also putting it out, he was like, "Let me do the CDs." Absolutely.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah. So finally, we can say we're big in Japan with CDs only.
Dude, a step at a time, man. Step at a time.
That's it.
So to wrap this all up, why don't you tell me your album of the year? And we lost Chris.
He's got nothing to say about
I was
that.
gonna say he doesn't have an album of the year.
I got it right here, man. I'm gonna go first. This is it right here. Nate Smith. Oh, it's popping out too. There we go. What's going on? Nate Smith, his group Kinfolk, they were Grammy nominated for Kinfolk 1. This is Kinfolk 2. I just saw them live at LPR in Manhattan, and I mean, for a contemporary jazz, funk, hip hop band, I was blown away. I mean, it was the greatest performance. Nate Smith is the drummer, and he's just doing polyrhythms and he's doing calculus while keeping the deepest groove you've ever heard.
I feel like I saw a video you posted of it.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I recommend it to everybody. If you love mathcore or post everything, I mean, this is like the logical evolution of that. I mean, he's grooving, making you dance, but also doing all the mathy stuff that you want to hear.
Okay. Chris, if you could turn your phone sideways. There we go.
We're doing good now?
Yeah, looks good.
Great.
So what's your album of the year?
Silk Sonic,
Yeah. Nice.
Silk
hands down.
Sonic. I don't know.
straight through.
I don't know what that one is.
It's the Bruno Mars Anderson .Paak album that came out. There are like few people I think that can like really pull off that like throwback style of like soul and funk, and you know, keep it modern and keep it interesting. And it's you know, growing up and like hearing that stuff kind of you know when we were kids, you know, my parents playing it all the time. You know, there's always a you know limited amount of quality of the actual recording. You know, when you know hearing that old school stuff, but them having the ability to bring that you know that new age vibe, you know, that old school vibe rather, you know, with like the quality of today's recording. I just love it. That album straight through is a banger. So if anyone hasn't heard it, please go for it.
I need to check that out. That sounds awesome.
They got some great videos too.
Okay.
It's a whole vibe. It's a whole incredible vibe. And like I don't normally speak for Etienne, but I'm gonna speak for him now because he's not here. And me and him were, especially when it first dropped, we were obsessed with Donda. And like we still keep listening to that record. Like, I mean, we're like waiting each week, checking the live streams, just watching this fucking guy sitting in a room in Atlanta Falcon Stadium, like the whole performance art behind it, the fact that you know in rap that 65% of that album is without percussion. You know, there's just, you know, we talk about a lot of left of center production choices, like that album is it, man. And you know, just hearing it be, he's almost like a curator now. It's like, you know, just meticulously curated of picking the right people to just add something to it. He's almost like he's writing and directing something. He's just kind of putting the chess pieces in one place to create this, you know, opus. And not all of it lands, but when it does, it's fucking out of control.
That's crazy. Y'all are like saying all these projects I wouldn't have thought that y'all would be like influenced by. So that's cool that these are like your year-end album. Like nothing metal like came up at all. That's crazy.
I missed Mike's because I cut out, so I have to rewatch this.
Yeah, it's right here, man. Homeboy Nate Smith. You know Nate. There we go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Hell yeah.
So we got
that's
this.
where it's at.
And I guess I'll give you one metal top, you know, album of the year, and it's gonna be your boys, Black Sheep Wall. I mean, we did the album and songs for the Enamel Queen. I mean, you had them on the podcast.
Hell
too.
yeah.
So those guys are the homies. I did the vinyl. That was like January. I mean, it seems like a lifetime
Right,
ago.
it does.
But that's still this year, and I still think it's one of the strongest albums, and the visuals, everything. So
Hell yeah. Well, that's about all I had to talk about. Let's see, something else you want to bring up.
I think that's it. I mean, you covered it all. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So if you're looking for something that can get you super hyped 1 minute and make you bawl your eyes out the next, you need to check out None But a Pure Heart Can Sing, the new album from So Hideous, which dropped last Friday on Silent Pendulum Records. You guys are on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and all streaming platforms. Am I missing any kind of socials or anything like that? I guess silentpendulumrecords.bandcamp.com to get all your stuff there. But
We're on OnlyFans too, so be sure to check that out.
nice. Alrighty.
Just blast beats for days.
That's it.
As for me, drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as some exclusive emotes. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you like the video, please drop a like, click on the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Is Creation, at thesoundthatiscreation.bandcamp.com. My new album, Boomers, Zoomers, Desperate Coomers, is out now. My next guest is DB Cooper, joining us this Wednesday the 8th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
so much.
And thank you guys for watching in.